Well, hello. I think we're live.
Welcome.
Welcome. My name's Jeremy,
I'm Jeff.
and together we are What More Could You Want? And we are a video podcast where we like to talk about hard subjects. We like to talk about things that make you sort of squirm a bit and maybe pull back in and withdraw.
Make you think.
Make you think. That's right. It's not preaching. Please don't ever take it as that. It's just us talking about stuff that hasn't worked and that has worked, because we're trying to hack our lives. We're trying to hack our minds here and get back into the core of what we're supposed to be doing as humans. You know, I think right now you hear a lot of people talking about needing change.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people right now talking about something isn't right. You know, this doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. And you're right. You know, I think that we've all been pushed to the brink of what we are finding is acceptable. You know, and especially here in America, we've got a different scenario where we are very entitled and very privileged.
I think, yeah.
But
it's very true.
Right? I mean, it is. We get both. We had a blessing and a curse here.
Yeah.
All right? So you talk to somebody.
Well, you can say many other years, but this year I'd say especially we've been tested the most.
Yep.
But we're also spoiled the most still, even through these times.
That's a very good point, man. Even through this time right now, we are still doing better than most. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to harp on that. We're not here to tell you what you already know. Mm-hmm. What we're here to talk to you about is when these kinds of scenarios get to you and you start feeling less than good, or as Jeff has so eloquently put it many times, maybe you're giving the world a lesser version of yourself, right? Because all too many times we like to say, oh, today sucked. Well, yeah, today it did suck for everybody that was around you.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, but when you get into those times, what can you do to get out of your own head? What can you do to, instead of, you know, falling into the couch and watching Netflix, which I understand is comfortable and I like it just as much as anybody, but how about instead you fall into bed with a good book, or you sit on the porch and with your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you do get lost in your thoughts, or maybe you get lost into meditation. You know, there's a lot of tools out there that Jeff and I talk about at your disposal. It's baked into you.
Yeah. It's a thing. It takes practice, no different than tying a shoe in a very simplistic form. It takes habit to create this habitual habit to where you can bend over, tie your shoe without even thinking of it, or fitness or whatever it may be, or, you know, your job.
Yeah.
You have some special skill. Well, you had to learn it. Now you're a master of your craft. And now it's like, I can do that without thinking. That's no different than your mindset, you know, and building that strength to be able to endure whatever your so-called day, you know, puts before you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, having said that, I experienced something today that was pretty cool, and I thought I wanted to talk about it.
Go for it.
So in our community, we have a very, very bad water situation. And I don't mean Flint, Michigan bad, but I mean like water so hard, you know, it leaves white scales on everything.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
the showers get ruined, early shower heads, but, you know, our water heater got ruined. So this gentleman comes and he's scheduled to be here for the better part of the morning. And, you know, we hit it off lovely. He's a wonderful gentleman. He's been doing it for 20, 30 years. And I said, man, this guy has really made my life better today, both in what he's doing for my family, just putting in this product, even though, yeah, I'm paying his company, but this guy's fantastic, you know, wonderfully personable human. And I said, well, I'm just thinking to myself, you know, I'm going to go and get this guy a gift bag from Barrel Brands, give him some product. His hands got to be messed up from doing this job all the time.
Oh, yeah. Probably washes his hands
constantly.
Billion times a day just because he's
salty brine and whatnot all over him. You know, I experienced it today. It burned the shit out of me. But so anyway, I gave it to him and he was floored by it. But I think where I'm going with this is by starting my day off giving and communicating, but giving to somebody. They didn't buy anything. He didn't even know I had a company.
No.
But I knew that it would enrich his life a little. So I gave it to him. That reverberates.
It sets your day off on a very good foot.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. After he left, I sat down, and I must have written 3 pages worth of poems, songs, whatever you want to call it. I felt absolutely amazing. So was one directly connected to the other, and can either of us prove it? Absolutely not. Don't know.
Yeah.
but it's beginning to be that way every time for me. And it's almost immediate. And there's a gap there. If you're never decent to somebody, and then one day you are, you can't expect that you're going to get something in return right away.
No.
But for every push, there's a pull, and you will receive something some way, good or bad.
Oh, absolutely.
But the more you do it, and the more it becomes a part of you, and you don't even think about it, the gifts start coming to you in droves.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes through the oddest of things, whether it's a note from an old friend in the mailbox, or you and your wife are exactly on par that evening. Everything's just flowing. There's no animosity. It's just a good time. It's your buddy, whatever it is. They just keep coming, man. And they just keep happening. But you really do have to start very, very small. Like we said, just getting out of your own way, right? And not being mad about everything. And if you are mad, sitting with that anger and trying to hash out, what is it that's really eating at you? Is it something that somebody else did, or is it something that somebody did that reminds you of yourself?
Yeah, very true.
You know, it's these kinds of things that I think help. They go a long way. I like to tell people to meditate. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of things that I'm very, very, I'm a big believer in.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had anybody tell me in all my 44 years of existence thus far that if you truly give and have compassion about people, then you can sort of let everything else fall to the side. And I don't mean your responsibilities.
No, but everything that you do, like you said, it follows suit. It keeps connecting itself. That
right.
No different than the, pay it forward at, Starbucks people have done.
Yeah.
That continues. And I think what was it? It was one Starbucks. It went for it was a Dairy Queen somewhere. And it went for how many days? This was a couple weeks back that it went for how many days? People just paying it forward.
Yeah, yeah.
But word got out and people wanted to be a part of it. But it's that connective chain that if someone experiences it, they'll continue it too. And somewhere down the road, maybe whomever they pass it down, that person gives it back to you, but you were the originator of it.
Yeah.
The origin started with you. So it's all those things that those little good deeds can snowball into massive big things,
Well, they do snowball. And listen to this. What I'm finding lately is that if I have to go and run errands, they're errands. What is the word errand is probably something derogatory, I would imagine. I don't know.
It depends on how you think of it. Some people think, running errands is just horrible. I can do that. It's like, we all have to do them.
Right. But that exactly is my point. Lately, for me, errands have turned into, I had a good time. I talked to some people. I had a really good conversation with this one person. Somebody was extremely nice to me over here. I'm finding that my dislike for people is getting a little smaller.
I think, too, though, with unfortunately being a masked up society for the past how many months? 9 months, I guess it is. A lot of people at stores, there are those that are scour and hide behind, but I think more people realize you have to have a conversation a little bit more when you're in that mask,
Yep.
versus before, I've done some grocery pickup stuff because it's convenient for time, but
Sure.
also just if you don't want to go in the store, I've done a few of those, and it was really nice, like when they come out, like, oh, hey, yep, thank you, so we're like, oh, thank you very much, appreciate you coming out in the cold, happy holidays. And they're so just happy.
Yeah.
Because you carried on a small conversation with them just when they go, are you Jeremy? Yep. Okay. Where would you like it? And you continued to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
And said goodbye after they got done. And thank you very much.
Right.
People are having more of those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
Even at the health club, like a bunch of people, all these people were like, how you doing? Good. How about you? As they're, going down to work out, they pass by the front desk and, I can hear them talking to my staff or if I'm out there. But I believe before they were very engaging, but they're more so now like, how are you doing today? Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're more engaging to see
good.
How is your day going, because you're truly hidden behind a literal mask that true emotion can't be shown all the time anymore now.
Right. I had another experience this week where my wife, she was on another level one day. And it was just like, I'm not going to go into details about it, and we all do it, but when I say another level, I mean like I couldn't keep up. I wasn't quite sure what was irritating her, but she was trying to stay busy. I was trying to stay out of her way. Just one of those things where we weren't really communicating.
Kind of going in a circle opposite of each other.
Totally. And so after a while, I just said, okay, I'm just going to sit down. I'm just going to chill myself, and I'm going to stop worrying about that, and she'll come around. We don't talk again. She falls asleep. The next day, she comes home, and she apologizes. She says, hey, listen, I was out of my head. I wasn't feeling great. I took it out on you, blah, blah, blah. And old me, pain cave me, would have been like rehashing it. I would have wanted to tell me why.
It today.
Yeah, why were you this way? I need closure on this. And instead, I just said, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was basically, sweetheart, we all have those days, and that's why I'm here for you. And it felt so good to be able to say something like that, as opposed to getting us both spun back up. And now we're not going to have a good evening because you don't just come back down from that. Instead, it was like squash. We're good. I don't have to rehash that. We don't have to relive it. Bygones, bygones. And man, it feels good.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
No, like you said, we all have days, no matter who you are, that you go on those. Sometimes silence might be the thing the other person needs. Got to give them a little bit until they come. Yeah. Maybe they just need that space, basically. You know, I think a lot of people now, especially since more of us are trapped in at home, you're not getting the freedom that you're used to, going to the usual things that you're used to. It can definitely drive you nuts. You know, if you're not a homebody and now you're at home, it's going to be tough.
It is tough, but I think that if you can, when you leave your home, and I know I've said this ad nauseum, if you can lead with compassion and know that other people are suffering too, nobody is having fun right now. This is not a good time. If you can remember when you leave your house to be patient and to show people some mercy, because everybody's a little spun up, and let people cross your path. Don't stand in their way. Let them move in front of you, both figuratively and, metaphorically. There's something about not being the one that's in such a race or in with such intent and focus that you lose sight of everybody else's right to have intent and focus as well. Seems like.
Yeah. No, it is, and it's all those little things of when you go out, even if it's not somewhere fun, you're still out. You still have the freedom to go drive somewhere, do something. Whereas in other places of the world, they don't even have that freedom, because they don't have a car, or they're on complete lockdown,
right?
And they're not allowed to leave because martial law is in effect.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about situations like this where people like burrow down and hunker in, and it's just like me. Like, take a 30,000-foot step back and look at the big picture, and then you can see that, everybody is me, and I am everybody.
But exactly that. But I think it's those little moments. It's the pity party. Oh, me, poor me, which is all common, and no matter what's going on in the world, exclude this year. This has gone on since man existed.
Right.
Yes, you have those moments, and I think it's just like, you take that time, you're like, okay, I had my moment, and we do.
Yeah.
Get a little frustrated because whatever didn't happen today, this happened late, something got screwed up, whatever, poor me. And that's a hard thing I think a lot of people got to get out of. It's that transitional thought process of, reshaping your mindset. When I kind of talked to you about before, of that, we all have immune systems, but building up your, psychological immune system, as most people don't think. What are you doing that builds your mindset, your brain, your adaptability to your surroundings? Not adaptability as it's getting colder.
Right.
An adaptability of, are you able to be very adaptable to what's thrown at you? Bad day, good day, being late, computer crash, whatever, those kind of scenarios.
Yeah.
You have to work on that.
It's integrating what you're working on into your daily routine.
That's
right.
An immune system aspect people don't think about. If you think of your brain in the same way as your actual immune system for overall health, well, staying active, eating right, hydrating, your vitamins, that builds and it strengthens your immune system. What do you do each day that strengthens your brain's immune system? Are you reading, meditating, physical exercise to release those endorphins?
Sure.
Are you doing things that make you like, what are you doing that's stimulating that aspect of your head? And as you said before, yeah, it's very easy to go plop, Netflix, let's go.
Yeah.
And to get drained, but you're momentarily stimulated maybe for like an episode, like say 30 minutes, because most of our attention spans are about 50.
Yeah.
Well, then you're gone. Well, then what are you doing that's enriching it? Not trying to put up some blockage to forgo. I don't want to deal with that, so I'm just going to watch this.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing a lot of people just don't think about in simplest form.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. It's definitely under discussed, right? Like you don't hear people talking about your brain's immunity or its resiliency.
Yeah.
It needs to be resilient. It needs to be pliable, right?
Very good.
It's gotta be up to snuff. And if you're not making it up to snuff, then who is? Is somebody else just going to make your brain better? Is somebody else going to come in and save your day and make you sleep better at night?
No.
Guys, gals, if you don't do this, you're going to suffer just like you've suffered for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You
got to build that tough. It's like you never run a 5K and you're like, I'm going to go run a 5K, but you don't have the mental fortitude. Most people within physical realms, if you can, even our dear friend Sam, who was on last week,
yeah,
he's not going to run it anytime soon until he gets his, running prosthetic. But that motherfucker will trek it.
Yep.
Because he has the mindset and the capabilities within that mind that, this is going to suck, but I'll get you a 5K. He'll do it.
Yeah.
Because he has that mindset. Even when before he had the amputation, he would have had the bum leg. He still would have trucked his ass as best he could. He would have run when he could have. He would have walked when he needed to.
Yeah.
He has that mental fortitude that is instilled in him, whether from military or just who he is as an individual, and built it. And that's where a lot of people got to understand. You got to build all that stuff up to be able to just even function in life.
Yeah.
Exclude everything physical.
Right.
Just think of the bullshit in the day-to-day, what you see every day on the news or on social media, or the person that cuts you off, or, the crap going on at work. A lot of people, this is crazy times as the year ends, if you're on a calendar year.
Right.
Business-wise, getting the numbers, everything crunch. That's a lot of stress. Are you strong enough to handle that?
Right.
And I'll admit, as before we talked, like, we'll rewind a couple of years, a lot of the stuff that went on this year, dude, I would not have been able to handle.
Right.
I don't think in a very good manner. Still some things I'm trying to get better at, and I know when I made my mistakes, but mentally when I would have been strong enough to do those types of things. But it's like, now it's just kind of like, I'll still have my moment, but the bigger picture, it's like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah, man. A lot of people say I like phrases like I'm mentally tough, or like I bounce back, or even I'm resilient. What they generally mean to say, and I think that they just don't want to say it because then it's admitting some weakness. What they're really saying is that like I don't want to deal with this, and I know how to compartmentalize this so I don't have to deal with it today.
Yeah, there are those, I think, that do
right.
that.
Because I think that
push it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Like ignorance is bliss, sort of, but you're not even really ignorant. You're just ignoring a problem. But I think that when somebody says, "Oh man, like I got this," or "I'm good," the macho thing. Now I see it and I'm just like, "Oh, you need a hug, man?" Like, really?
Well, that's in that aspect of what you're saying. That's when the ego needs to step back.
Yeah.
And the true you needs to emerge to look at it in that. Is it something that you truly can handle?
Right.
Or are you pushing the ego forward saying, "Yeah, I can do this"?
Yeah, man.
And there's those moments. Like before we got on talking about doing some CrossFit workouts, telling you like I've done some RX Plus ones. And we've had some that have like just deadlifts, nothing crazy weight, but just all that volume. I'm like, I know that will not end well on my back. So if there's a RX Plus in deadlifts and there's a lot of volume to it, my happy ass is going to do RX. And I know when I do that, I will move very slow and efficient
Yes.
during that movement and other movements that I know, but I put my ego aside. Now, where you go back to when I was full blown hardcore CrossFit with Shane, Josh, and the old G crew, it'd have been like, screw it, let's go. And then I'd have been on the floor, and then I would have been miserable for 3-4 weeks in agony of pain. Now it's just like, I'm sore, but it's because I'm doing the things properly. Everything that needs to be engaged.
You're managing it, right?
Yeah, putting that ego aside and understanding, I can do that workout, or I can do this. Nope, this is out of my capability, my realm. I'm going to pull that ego back. I'm going to do what I think I can, remove the fitness side of this and look at life. Yeah, I can take on whatever this is.
Sure.
But I might need some assistance, and I'll refer to whomever I need.
And I'll ask accordingly.
And I will ask if I'm doing a project. I'm the lead and I got to do this project. If I'm unsure, I will ask whomever bestowed it upon me, or one of my coworkers, or whatever it may be.
Right.
That's when you need to remove the ego. There's times to push the aspect of confidence, not ego. I always say keep the ego back. Like, there's a good and plus to it and bad, but
totally, man.
I think ego will always get checked at some point.
Yeah.
I like confidence is a better word than ego, that you are confident that I'm going to do this versus letting that ego talk. Because a confident person will be just as different, almost on that same plane as that person who's egotistical, but they're not like the dick and ass about it.
Yeah, man. I think in order to get there, okay, so that place you're talking about being where you can sort of pinpoint accuracy inside your mind, attack a goal, next one. What I liken my brain to a lot of times is like a messy kitchen drawer to where you just got all the shit in there.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to be able to open the drawer and find a note when you need it, or you want to be able to find a pen so you can make a note, or you need to find some twist ties, or whatever it is that you keep in that drawer.
Got a MacGyver drawer is what you're saying.
Right. You have to organize that drawer. You have to manage that drawer. It's going to get messy. Somebody's going to throw something back in there where it doesn't belong. You have to manage it. We are all managers of our own minds.
Yes.
There is no boss here, people. So guess what? The cat's away. So the mice will play. You get me? Mm-hmm. There ain't nobody watching your mind. It's been going fucking ape shit crazy, people. Our mind's been like 5 schools of kids in a warehouse losing their minds.
Oh, yeah, because we're overstimulated.
Oh, God.
This day and age. So, like, for some of you guys, like, if you have taken what we've explained in past episodes or just listening today for the first time, and you try basic meditation, even if you use something for 5 minutes, you will find, or a 10-minute one. 10 minutes is about the start. It's good pace. Yeah. Most people, you're going to go in and out, especially if you follow one.
Yeah. Well, 5 minutes or 10, you'll get lost in thought.
You're going to be lost. Like today, I've been doing a lot of my breathing, Wim stuff after working out, and it is the hardest mental focus. And I've done it when my breathing naturally has come down from whatever my workout was. But I am so flushed with stimulus and endorphins. I am so awake with adrenaline from my workout. It is very, very hard to lay there, keep my brain and just do it. But that's why I've been doing it, because it's a new challenge. Whereas before I would wake up, meditate, Wim breathing. Now it's like get done working out, meditate, do my breathing, and it's trying to turn the brain off when it's been flushed with endorphins. Cool. You need to be able to still remain and focus.
Yeah.
No matter if you just woke up.
Yep.
If it's the end of the day, which I've done meditation. And I found it for me personally, the hardest for me to meditate is post-workout, because I'm just like, and I'm not doing pre-workouts, because when I get up, it's just, there's no point. Because by the time it would kick in, I'd be done with my, I'd be halfway done with my workout. So
yeah, man,
I don't do any pre-workout and stuff in the morning. I just literally get up and chug some water down and happy ass gets going.
Yeah.
So there's no artificial stimuli in my head. But man, it is the hardest thing to lay there. Like this morning, laying there, I'm like, got my eyes closed. I'm like, I call it with like, you got your second eyelid closed, which you're even, I'm like, and in there I can see my eyes just going like, as I have them closed. I'm like, focus, like just stare. Yeah. Even though I'm staring in the darkness, but it's by like that second, third, maybe fourth rep of breathing work that it's like, I've come into peace.
Yeah, man.
There's that last one today where that entire time I'm like, oh, now, you hit the end once the breath holds over. And I'm like, recovery hold, breath hold. I'm like, wow, that was so good.
Yeah.
But it takes me a few to get into it.
Well, what people are going to find if they're new to meditation is the first time sucks. First time you go, "What? Okay, I sat there and thought a lot." And then, by the fifth time you go, wait, I don't think I'm supposed to be thinking this much. And then by the 10th time, you're like, wow, I only thought for 9 minutes out of those 10, right?
Yeah.
And then by the 20th time, you're like, well, I only thought for a minute out of that or 2 minutes. It gets better. And then once you start getting to the place where you're not really thinking for most of each minute, that's when your life starts to change.
Yeah, and that's,
it really is.
If you do a guided meditation, which a lot of the apps have, or if you pull something up on YouTube, there's some good ones out there.
Totally.
You're listening to that person's voice. You're literally so relaxed and focused, you won't even hear them. And that's some points that I get and it's like, it's over, and it's like, I didn't hear a word that they flipping said.
Yeah, man.
I'll try and pick some meditations that will teach you to focus. There's different types of meditating, as you guys may have heard us talk about. But if you choose one of those and they're trying to get you to think on some things, a lot of Stoic meditation is pulling negative thoughts into your brain, which then will strengthen your thought process that, okay, if that did happen, that's not such a big deal.
Right. It's just another thing.
It's another thought to overcome. Right. So all these little things, but it's just that thought process of, can you focus? Mm-hmm. But it's a hard part because you got to then separate. Well, I need to be doing this right now. Well, man, I got to be out of the house, or I got to do this, I got to do that. I need to be on social media. Do you really?
Yeah, dude, it's so funny. I'll catch myself now in that decision making, like terminal velocity, and I will have to consciously make the decision, sometimes out loud. No, I don't want to go do that.
Yeah. I had that same thing yesterday morning after working out. I was like, I should really do my meditation. I'm like, I really need to get to work. I'm like, So I made the decision. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to work. And I did it later in the day. I did it at my office, just sat and did it while doing stuff. And I've gotten to that habit where I can do it without having to listen to something.
But the important part is I'm betting it's not a stressful decision.
No, it was just like looking at my watch. I'm like, okay, it'll take about 20 some odd minutes to meditate. Okay, I'll cool down. I'm like, I probably should get in and get some stuff done because I got a lot to do today.
Yeah.
Shortened holiday week.
Yeah.
I had to do payroll and a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, let's just get into work. Let's get all that done.
Yeah,
and when those stresses of what I really need to do, not for myself, but for my employees done, then it's like, okay, cool. Then I got all that done. I'm like, cool, I'll take about 10 minutes and now I'll just sit in my chair.
Yeah.
Because I got this nice little comfy chair in the corner of my office. So I got my desk chair and I got this other chair. So sitting there and I just like, little 10-minute little mind reset and then jump right back into doing some stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, man. I catch myself at times in the past, more so than now, but bouncing from task to task.
Yeah.
And then by the time you're done, you go, what happened to today?
That was me today because I literally had so much to do.
Right.
Like, I didn't even tell my wife when I was talking to her before coming in. I was like, I usually call her and I text her for a little bit, and I use that text as like a quick mind break when I was doing all these marketing posters and some other stuff I had to do today.
Right.
A few things that got thrown on my plate that needed to be done before the end of the day. So I was like, multitasking at its finest.
Totally.
And I was like, okay, but that little break just to text her for a few moments was a mental break.
Yeah.
And then as some people who do the, meditation, like even Sam Harris and a couple of these other people like Jay Shetty talk about that you can still meditate while doing something.
Yes, I do it all the time now.
Because you are so focused on what you're doing that you are at peace.
Yep. That
when I was designing some marketing, doing some poster stuff for some holiday things and newsletter to the health club members, I was so involved in that like if my watch buzzed or text came or the noises outside my office, didn't hear a word of them while I was doing these templates and making the stuff. And I was just like, and all of a sudden I was like, I took a break. I'm like, okay, I got a couple of them. Those look good. Oh, wow. I've been doing this for 20 minutes and I've not heard a thing outside of that.
So let's make a point out of this then. That wasn't only a form of meditation, but you were able to do that because of meditation.
Yes.
Right?
Well,
so it sort of begets itself.
I think meditation, now I'm not a doctor when I say this, that I can speak of this because I had ADHD as a child, probably still do as an adult, who knows, but most do.
If you're lucky.
that focus, I think if you can instill that, I know for children it would be harder, but if you have those and you can really meditate and focus, I believe you can start to harness those things which, quote unquote, can set you back if depending on the extent of how bad you might have it.
Totally.
You know, as a kid, I had to take medicine for it. Then eventually I got to junior high, and I'm like, this is not going to happen no more. Yeah. I just took a little extra. You had to sit there, maybe you had to read it a couple times. And then I got to high school, and it was boom, no problem. College, no problem. Well, it's just a matter of staying focused, not to be, I'm not going to do my homework kind of thing. But I think if you can focus the mind, if you have those things or other setbacks in life, if you can train your mind on those simple little, I'll say even mundane things that you can focus on doing something for 5 minutes without anything else distracting you, that's a first start in simple meditation that you can align yourself to do.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, that's yeah, of course. You know, I'll catch myself meditating in line at the store. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll catch myself meditating, and I say this and I mean it while I'm driving.
Yeah,
I'm completely focused on what I'm doing.
I was doing it on the way here,
but I'm only focusing on what I'm doing. I'm driving, eyes just locked in, thoughts locked in. Obtrusive thought comes in and it's gone.
I was technically doing it too. I was driving and listening to a podcast, but the podcast was doing some meditational things and just focusing, breathing. But being very aware, looking around as I'm driving.
Yeah,
fully aware. Oh no, go ahead and get in front of me. Like when you gotta merge from 2 to 1 out there off the highway. Like
but your mind is only doing 1 or 2 very specific tasks. Other than
that's all where my focus was.
Because otherwise, most people are driving. I don't even remember the next mile or the last mile. Like, you talk to people about that.
They say it can be bad and good, but...
No, that's a bad thing. That's what I'm saying is like you get people that have so many things going on in their head that they would never be able to do just one thing.
What that's called. I don't know if it's routine, something that where you do your drive and I'm at work, but you can't recall any of it. There's an actual term for that, and I have no idea.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I would call it scary as hell.
I'll say that like one of my past jobs, I would do that.
Yeah.
I'd have a good chunk of drive sometimes because some days I'd be over in St. Louis, some days I wouldn't and stuff, and it'd be like, shit, how did I get here?
Right. So,
and then like you look at the time, like, wow, I remember when I left. Damn, okay, I made that pretty quick. God, how fast was I going? Yeah. And that's a bad thing because you should be able to recall specific things in your drive.
Yeah, man.
Like here, on the way here, even being in that meditative state, I can recall everything. The one truck in front of me, when he was turning, I got out of that. I was like, ooh. Then a Jeep came up behind me, a yellow Jeep. You don't see many. I was like, oh, that's a nice yellow Jeep.
Right.
And then the guy pulling the trailer on the way here, I'm like, I could have gunned it in front of him. I was like, nah, I'll go slow, let them go because they're pulling stuff. They're getting done with their day of construction. It's like I'm aware of that. But then, that's something that I will say have been cultivated through just awareness and meditation, whereas before it had been like, shit, I'm at Jeremy's. How the hell did I get here?
Dude, imagine if one of your employees showed up one day and you're having a morning meeting or something and they're a little frustrated and they're like, what's wrong, man? Maybe he or she says, I don't remember my whole drive here. I would think that first inclination would be, oh, shit, something's going on. What's wrong? But there's nothing, well, I shouldn't say there's nothing wrong. What she or he has experienced is very normal, like you just talked about. Mm-hmm. So as a manager of our mind, just like a manager of your people, you need to be compassionate and have empathy and maybe figure out why your mind was so lost in thought that you don't recall an entire drive.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, I liken that to the same.
So it's a good way of, you've heard, and many Stoics have said it, I think it was Marcus, if I'm correct, that you don't rule people or those you're in charge of by force, you lead by example.
Right.
I think it was Marcus, if I'm truly correct. Could be wrong. But no different than your own mind. Lead yourself in your mindset by example of what should you be doing. Don't force yourself. If you force yourself to try and do these things, it won't happen. I can't sit there and force myself to meditate every day. It is a habit that I know I need to do, but I'm not going to force myself to do it. If I don't have time to run through my normal routine, I know at some point in my day, I will do my own meditation or writing or whatever that has, got me to this point. But you have to lead in that same way with yourself. Lead by example. Give yourself some forgiveness. Don't lead yourself with force. Because if you force yourself into all this, especially as we're coming up on the new year next week, all New Year's resolutions and people wanting to lose weight, new me, new year, all, the slogans that get pitched. By leading yourself by force, no matter what your goal in front of you is, it's no different than someone sitting over you, dictating you and, teaching you you ain't going to do it.
Nope.
You got to lead by example in a manner that is relatable to you. And that's what I try to do as like a manager and a leader, or like you want out of others. I'm sure you can look back on people who were in charge, or when you were in charge of, people. It's how should I lead them? What example should I be doing? Should I be a tyrant? Should I be saying these things? No, because that poisons the mind.
Yeah. I never knew how I wanted to lead. I only knew how I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was enough for me to learn to do. Again, I was probably leading with compassion and didn't even know it. Honestly, I just wanted the people that worked with and for me to be better because of me.
Yeah.
That's it, because I felt better because of them. There was never a moment when I was, Sergeant Slaughter or Captain America. I just had people that I loved and cherished and did not want them to get hurt or hurt someone else. It really wasn't a big patriotic hoorah thing for me. Once I was there for a while, I, of course, learned to absorb a lot of that. But it was never anything more than going back to the compassion and caring about my fellow, at the time, my fellow airman or man or woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got that. I've got a leg up. For some reason, I've had compassion and empathy baked into me for most of my life. And I don't know why, other than maybe some trauma. But just recently have I learned to start to become a manager of my mind.
Yeah.
Just recently. I have never really looked at it like, oh, my mind is a messy drawer. My mind needs somebody to manage it and put things back into place. I can't tell you where our thoughts come from.
No.
It sure is weird how they just appear. But I do know that once they appear and I acknowledge it for what it is, it's just a thought. And do I need to pay any more attention to it?
Mm-hmm.
I can do that more clearly now. Before, it was like any thought that came into my mind got full attention.
Yeah.
For about that long.
And that's most people
right?
is, squirrel. You give it that literally snap of a finger, blink of an eye kind of attention, and it's gone.
Well, yeah, you walk into a restaurant with your family. Hi, I'd like a seat for 4 people, or a table for 4, whatever. All right, fine. You go to your table and everything. Sit down. Maybe one of you says, wow, that shirt she was wearing was really cool. And everybody else is like, oh, she had a shirt? And then somebody's like, oh, I didn't even know it was a person, because nobody noticed.
Yeah, because you're so
and not even on the
tunnel
phone.
Vision to that, yeah.
Just anything.
Oh,
right?
That's a lot. That's so many people.
It is. It makes me angry, though, because I know it was me. And it still is me sometimes.
Oh, yeah. It is everybody that you be
course.
so focused that you just drown out, other stuff. Like, I was doing stuff and I closed my door today in my office because, like, I'm going to sit here and focus. And most of the time, my door is wide open unless I'm on the phone and I got to hear and stuff like that.
Right.
And whatnot. But it's that you can focus with those outside distractions plus the distractions your own mind puts in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, man.
That's
like
true.
Our heads are bad enough. We don't need external sources.
Yeah, so that's the thing of like managing yourself is, okay, I hear the outside sounds from, one of the TVs out there, one of the members talking, or one of the machines, or here's someone down the way in the weight room clanging and banging some weights, re-racking. I can hear it.
Yeah.
Or, whatever's going on. But then you have your own internal thoughts that are going on, okay, I'm doing this, no, this, and this. Well, if you're constantly paying attention to the external things or what's in front of you, this is where the internal, external thing weighs. But that's where building your, psychological immune system, that brain strength is so important, because your brain will have the power to navigate to, okay, that sounds, I don't need to do that. Oh, popped in your head. Yeah. Oh, I got to pick this up. All right. Okay. Thought gone.
Yeah.
Have to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You can have these thoughts that pop in and still focus.
Some people, and I won't say who it is, but somebody very near and dear to me just said to me yesterday, I'm a really good multitasker. And I couldn't help but think, man, I have seen you not complete shit for years now. You ain't multitasking nothing. You got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. But multitasking is when you come to completion with multiple tasks. So let's stop saying that we're good multitaskers when we can't even manage the thoughts in our head, much less what's out of them. I think that's that's good, man. I like that. I think that if more people would learn that admit that they needed somebody to manage their mind, that's a start. That's a great start for mankind.
Your mind is a box that should never be checked as completed.
Yeah, man.
Because you just can't. Because every decade of your life, you are almost a new person, new experiences, growth, maturity, life, things that happen in life. Like everyone this year will be a completely probably new person next year. Or maybe the next 2 years. We still got a ways to go through this madness. Right. We will all be somehow a new person. The old versions of us will still emerge, but something will be new because we've been through something a little bit more traumatic, a little bit more hit home, whether you've been affected by COVID or, not just being clenched up, but I think we'll come out. Some will come out better. Some will come out worse, not in the physical sense, but in the mental sense will come out way worse, as we've already seen a spike in that already through this year. But a lot of people, I think, who have the strong mindset will come out on top going, oh man, so let's say we're sitting here reminiscing. You're 54 now. I'm 44.
Right.
Well, actually, in 10 years, that wouldn't make sense. I'm 47, you're
Doesn't
54.
Matter.
Doing
Sure.
math wrong there.
All good.
So, we're through our almost halfway points of life. And we can sit back, and you've experienced things and things I haven't, but we can sit back and go, remember COVID back 2020, 21? Yeah. Man, that was nothing.
Yeah.
Because other things will have merged that will have become more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
sadly,
to think that this is the worst that we're going to see, probably not. Nothing gets easier in nature. I'm sorry. Things get stronger, bigger,
like the other
faster.
day, a volcano erupted. Boom, big lava field. Okay.
Yeah.
4.4 earthquake because of it. Fires out in California, or, the massive snow up in the northeast, or even I think Japan, was it last week? Got like 6.5 feet of snow in like 48 some odd hours. Okay.
It's moving.
Think about all that. Like,
right, yeah. There's always something.
That little bit, I got 6.5 feet of snow. COVID and all this is not even to be a thought process, because now I got to dig myself out.
Right.
But how are other people? How are my family? How are my neighbors? Like,
right.
Bigger concerns come into play when life is a little bit more precious. Not to say that it's not with what's going on, but those things become a little bit more, oh shit, we got to take care of this right now. That's not such a big deal right now.
Yeah. Well, I think, people, if you maybe feel like you've lost a bit of compassion and maybe you're a little jaded, it's easy to do. Been there plenty myself.
Oh, yeah.
Pick up the phone. Don't text anybody. Call them. Let them hear your voice. And when they ask why you called, tell them because you were thinking of them and you wanted to talk to them. That's where you'll find compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'd say I want to hear your voice kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that will beget more compassion.
Yeah. Perfect example. A guy I used to work with, he talked about in social media the other day, his mom randomly called, and he's like, oh my God, she knows I'm at work. What's going on? He picks up and he goes, hey, what's going on? Oh, I just wanted to call to hear your voice and miss you. And he goes, that's the kind of mom I have, to call. And he's from California originally, so she's still back there, and he's in the St. Louis region. But makes a lot of sense.
It's beautiful.
That she knows what he's doing. But at that moment in time, something just hit her that she's like, I want to hear his voice.
Yep.
And so he did. And I guarantee you that just made his day, even if it was like a 3-minute, not even a 3-minute conversation, like, hey, I just want to hear your voice. Love you. Yeah. Have a great day.
That's as good as somebody buying your meal.
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it does it, right? It does it. And so if you can't find compassion, if you're finding yourself angry right now, start doing that every day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe write a letter, pick up the phone, whatever, but communicate with people that you haven't, and maybe you should, reconnect with them, find a way to make yourself feel better. once you start feeling a little bit better, these tools that Jeff and I talk about all the time, ad nauseum, I know, will begin to make much more sense to you.
Yeah.
And one day you will reach out to Jeff and or I, and you will tell us that you are now telling people about how to find some inner peace.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is worth every second of us being on here.
Oh, yeah.
Is if one, maybe two would be better, right? Maybe three. If one person realizes that they have all they need in their world to be at peace with themselves. Because believe me, you know, old military guy with PTSD and whatnot, I know it's not easy to ever believe that you can find peace. I know it is not easy to ever think that anybody is going to come to your rescue. These tools help.
Mm-hmm.
And these tools have saved my life. You know, there's a lot of skeletons in my closet, and a lot of them have to do with I don't know if you call it self-hate or if you call it mismanagement of the mind. But, you know, for me, for over a decade, 2 decades, you know, I wondered why I was still breathing, and my buddy wasn't, and the rest of our troops weren't. And then haunted me so badly. It haunted me so badly.
As many.
Yeah.
Especially
Right.
from a couple of, you know, military special ops I've got to meet at my last job, and they talk.
Loss is loss.
I think every single person who served,
But
even first responders who survived something, why me? And,
yeah.
you know.
But I finally figured it out. You know, I finally figured out that there's not a why for one thing or not for the other. It's just another thing. And like I said before, I'm not God. It's not up to me to decide what's right or wrong or should or shouldn't have been. All I know is that now I have the opportunity to sit here and talk with you fine folks and bounce some crazy shit back and forth with Jeff in hopes that somebody hears our voices and says, oh, God damn, somebody else feels just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Or they did.
Yeah.
And these tools and this management of the mind, as we said, and building up that psychological immune system to be more resilient, right, to be able to bounce back, that's where we have to start. Because our nation needs us. Our nation needs people, young people too, free thinkers, people that are willing to think outside the box, people that are willing to push against the tide. We need the smartest people that we've ever created right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to make the smartest people we've ever created, they've got to be the most compassionate, the most empathetic, the most kind, the most caring people too. And in order to do that, got to find center.
Yep.
Right? Got to find center, guys.
And if you can't be at somewhat peace or some more harmonious with your own self, you really shouldn't be in a leadership role or trying to take on other people.
Right.
Because you first got to have your own shit somewhat in line.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
if you're
and
trying to climb up a mountain, your toolkit better be solid, right?
Yeah. If you've
Yeah.
got more demons in your closet than you can deal with, how do you expect to lead or go about bettering others
Yes.
if you've not dealt with what you've got?
Such a good point, man.
And that's something that I've seen from firsthand experience of others that, you know, they shouldn't be in those roles because they've not quite earned. They might have earned it in a different manner, but they hadn't faced the demons that withheld them from other things. That true people who see past some of the persona see those demons haunting them and understand that you need to fix these first.
Yeah.
Stop doing this. Fix this first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Don't.
true eyes will see the demons in others' closets and will recognize like, hey, I know you need to work on this, man.
Yeah, but
Or that versus seeing what the first aspect of something. And that's even in yourself. What are you doing that is addressing some of the issues that you have? You're not going to fix them all at once, but I know I got this going. Okay, what can I do? As soon as you start recognizing those things, you're on a path to start fixing them. No different than, you know, in any therapy, AA and all that. That's their 12-step programs. All of those things come in a line to start you to seeing what you did or what you need to fix No different than a coach. See, when a coach tells an athlete, what'd you do? Oh, that. Oh, and if they can see what they did wrong, they're understanding, they're learning, they will be able to fix and better themselves. So, same process. Look at yourself from the coach's perspective.
Yeah.
And what can you see to adjust in yourself?
Yeah, totally. All right, then. Well, folks, we'll make it a rather short one today, but I guess before we take off, Jeff, you got anything else to tell these fine folks today?
I want to read a quote. You got anything to say? I want to pull it, so I want to ruin it. So I'm gonna
No, it's fine. What kind of quote you got, man?
So this one actually is going to be from Marcus Aurelius himself.
All right.
So kind of what we talked about today, not so much a mindset, but of life and what you're doing. So Marcus says here, think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. From Marcus Aurelius, great Stoic philosopher, Greek leader. Think about that, guys. Think of yourself as dead. Then what you're left with, what are you going to do with what so-called is left on the side? Think of that in terms of your mind. What have we done wrong? What have we done right? Where do we need to go from here to make it better? I shared that today on my Instagram, and I was like, dude, I found that the other day, and I was like, oh, that is so awesome. Got few people comment on it. I was like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Like, that's one of my favorites, and it eluded me for a while, but it popped back up. But there's a reason those come. But I think that's a perfect one to tie in not only with life, but your thinking and your mindset.
Right. Cool, man. Well, thank you for that. I got something I'm gonna leave these folks with too. Hope you don't mind.
Go for it.
All right. So imagine that you're a car. Vroom, vroom, right? Pick your favorite car. Corvette, Ferrari, Volkswagen, van. Maybe you're just a go-kart out in the sand dunes. All right. So if you got bad gas in your car, it ain't going to go nowhere very far. All right. I've driven a big old bus before that had some bad gas in it. About 40 miles in, it really let me know. So if we are a car and you got bad gas in you, you're a bad car? Not at all. You just got some bad gas. You just got to get that shit out of you. You get rid of the car? Yeah, some people might. Some short-sighted people might get rid of it. No, you fix it. You get the bad gas out. You get new gas in it, new fuel filters. You're ready to go. And why I say that is I think that there are probably people both listening and millions that are not. You're not a bad person because you got some bad stuff in you. You're not made up of any of those thoughts in your head. You're not the memories of what you did or didn't do, and you're not the memories of what somebody else did or didn't do. You are only what you have, just like Jeff said. If you were to die and everything was off the table, what are you left with? And that's you, right? Now, I don't want to get too deep. We don't have enough time for that. But I do want you to know that if you feel like you're a car with some bad gas in you, and maybe when you get anxious, you start to sweat and you start to panic. Maybe you get short of breath. And if you're anything like me, maybe you start to question everything you know because you're so panicked. You don't know where the fear is coming from. Maybe it's the rage. Maybe it's the anger that you feel because of something somebody said or did, and now you're wearing it just like a big old bright red stripe across your body. Maybe you're angry because nobody hears you because you don't know how to speak. Maybe if you weren't so angry, they could hear you and they would help. And I'll leave you with that. I love you guys. I'm glad as hell that y'all are here with us.
Thank you. Absolutely.
If you know anybody else that might benefit from any of our words, please share it. We'd greatly appreciate that. We ain't looking to make money off this stuff. We're looking to
share, like, comment,
make happy lives.
Help people.
That's right. And on that note, we will see you next time. It's been a wonderful episode 30.
Absolutely.
All right. I can't believe we're doing it still, but it's
Merry
awesome.
Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry late Christmas.
Yeah, when you get this.
All right, guys.
It's before Christmas, but anyway.
Peace. We'll see you.
Knock down killer.